And welcome to Livewire's Buy, Hold, Sell. I'm Selby, and today we're talking about a handful of stocks that have had nothing short of a tremendous 12 months. I'm joined by Perpetual's Anthony Aboud and Sage Capital's Sean Fenton to discuss these four ASX outperformers. Plus, they'll share their view on the ASX's most shorted stock. First up, we have Afterpay, and Sean, I'll start on you. Its share price has lifted around 330% over the past 12 months. Lucky shareholders. Is it a buy, hold or sell?
It's a tough one. It's gone up a long way, but I'll sit with buy at this stage. It's is a global leader in buy now, pay later. Massive pipeline of growth ahead of it. Very hard to put a valuation on it, but whilst we're seeing that momentum, that land grab continue to roll out, then may as well just stick with it.
They've actually released a digital card themselves recently. It kind of feels like they're on the verge of world domination. Do you think it's a buy, hold or sell?
Look, respectfully, I don't think it's a sell. I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I've got this wrong for a while. My problem is for $35 billion, what are you getting? And I feel that there are risks, regulatory risks, credit cycle risks, and even margin risk at some point where the merchant fee versus the interest costs might actually squeeze up at some point. But you know what? I've been wrong to date. I could be wrong going forward.
Okay, next up we have Lynas Rare Earths. Its share price has lifted more than 315% over the past year. Is it a buy, hold or sell?
Sitting on the fence, I've got a hold on. Look, the setup for rare earths is fantastic. You've got 80% of the world rare earths are manufactured in China, and so Lynas is the biggest producer of rare earths outside of China. So strategically, it's very important. The demand's going to come from wind turbines, electrical vehicles. So the demand side's there. I just think you're paying a lot for it, and the market is extrapolating current prices for a long time. I prefer Iluka in this space because I don't think you're paying much for that rare earths exposure.
It's a stock that our readers really love. It was one among our most tipped small caps for 2021. It's done pretty well so far. In the first quarter, it lifted 47%. Sean, is it a buy, hold or sell?
I think it's probably a hold, maybe a sell. I've actually done very well. I've owned Lynas for a long time. I do like the rare earth space, particularly that conflict with China and trying to get supply chains away from there. But at the end of the day, rare earths aren't that rare. They're just very expensive to separate, very polluting environmentally as well, which is why China dominated so much of that market for a long time. So there's definitely tension in the price there, but it probably won't last forever. It's had a great run, so maybe a hold will take some profits.
Next up we have Pointsbet, which is the online bookmaker making strides in the US. Over the past 12 months, its share price has lifted more than 288%, which is pretty amazing. Is this a safe or risky bet for investors? Is it a buy, hold or sell?
Yeah, it's a very tough one. Hold, probably even a sell for me. It does have a great growth pipeline there, obviously moving to sports betting in the US where that's just opening up, so there's a massive land grab going on. But I think ultimately what we've seen in wagering is it can be a very competitive space as well and expensive in terms of advertising to maintain your customers and your shares, so just uncertain about the long-term margins there. It
actually reported a loss of $85.6 million for the first half. Do you think the catalysts for growth here outweigh the risks? Is it a buy, hold or sell?
I've got it as a sell. I think they've done a good job in Australia. Through the consolidation, they'll probably be the third biggest sports wagering company in Australia when it's all said and done. But when you're paying $4.5 billion fully diluted market cap, you need the US to go well. My problem is that I think the small guys are going to really struggle against the DraftKings and the FanDuel as far as customer acquisition costs. Because the customer acquisition cost for Pointsbet will be double that of the big guys, and so it's going to be hard for the small guys to compete, in my opinion.
Right. Let's talk Xero, the accounting software provider. Its share price has lifted 77% over the past year. Is it a buy, hold or sell?
Great business, and a bit like I've got to hold. Great business. It's a little bit like net wealth, where you speak to the customers and they all love them. Yeah, for me, it's a great business. Great growth. Their execution has been very good to date. The management's good. I just can't get the valuation to stack up.
Sean, do you agree? Is it a buy, hold or sell?
It's probably a hold, and if it goes up much further, probably approaching a sell. A fantastic growth story, real success story. Obviously, SME accounting software. They do have competition out there, and the US, Intuit and the like. So without the ability to actually capture the US market and a large share there, then we'd probably struggle with the valuation where it is now.
Yeah, next up we have Webjet, which is the ASX's most shorted stock. Do you see this as a buy, hold or sell?
For me, it's actually a sell. I'm probably adding to its misery. So it's actually done really well bouncing back from COVID. You look at a share price chart and you go, wow, it's still cheap, but they've done a couple of, at least two, Anthony, some of you maybe three equity issues in the last 12 months. So the market cap, their enterprise value is now greater than it was pre-COVID, and there's a lot of challenges out there. The way people travel, and it's not necessarily the end of the pain in terms of generating cash flow and liquidity. So just the value is not there for a company with that much uncertainty and earnings risk.
Anthony, there's actually nearly a 16% short position in Webjet. Is it a buy, hold or sell?
Yeah, I might stick with a hold here. As I said,
going on.
Oh, I've had a few sells. I think relative to most of you guests, I would have had a lot more sells than most. But the only reason I say that is I think it's a dangerous sell, just because, as you say, like GameStop, when you got an obvious short with a big short interest, it's a bit of a dangerous short. The other thing working in their favour, as the opening up trade occurs, people are going to look for exposure, and this is one of the companies I'll look for exposure. But I do agree with Sean. It's got a higher enterprise value than it was pre-COVID, and I'm not 100% sure that the outlook is better.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that's all we have time for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Buy, Hold, Sell. If you did, why not give it a like? Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an update.